Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Applied Theatre India Foundation and Indian Council for Cultural Relations, I welcome you all to the seventh session of first ever virtual conference on role of applied theatre in Indian society. Today we are talking about applied theatre in India, but what about other countries? How they are using this methodology of an applied theatre. We are glad to welcome our speaker Saket Raje from Mumbai. Sanket has completed a bachelor's and master's in science and also diploma and master's in performing arts. He has completed a certificate course for an accredited teacher from IGCSE and currently working at Oberoi International School, Mumbai as head of performing arts department and high school drama teacher. Sanket is going to share his thoughts on skill development through drama in the middle years program of International Baccalaureate. Welcome, Sanket, and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction. I will quickly share my screen. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Saket Raje. I'm teaching for a while now in international program, IGCSE and IB specifically. Currently, I'm working with Oberoi International School in Mumbai as a head of performing arts departments, and I teach MYP and DP of International Baccalaureate, IB. So today I'm going to talk about skill development through drama in middle years program of International Baccalaureate. To start with, let's go through the objectives. Let's go through objectives of this presentation. Obviously, first one is to understand the framework of International Baccalaureate and how IB MYP works. International Baccalaureate or IB provides framework and not curriculum. It's up to school to develop a curriculum based on framework. And I think it's a little bit important to understand how exactly IB works or how exactly MYP works before we get into skill development or skill development in MYP. Next will be to understand how IB identifies skills. IB has identified a specific, I'll call it IB recognized skills, or we call it ATLs. And it is all teachers' responsibility to develop those ATLs, map the development of students in the specific ATLs and skills apart from your subject specific skills. Third point will be to understand the skill-based approach to teaching. We do inquiry-based approach. We also do skill-based approach to planning our classes, to planning units, planning the long-term assessments or short-term assessments. So we'll also see how we do skill-based approach in teaching a middle years program. And finally, we'll try to see some examples of how exactly drama and skill building happens in the curriculum. To start with, I feel it is important to understand what exactly IB is. And that's why we'll start with understanding what IB is. Creating a better world through education. And that's what the bigger aim or motto of IB. IB have its own mission and vision. But if we imagine a worldwide community of schools and educators and students with a shared mission to empower young people with values, knowledge, and skills to create a better and more peaceful world, I think that's what the definition of IB is. That's what IB is for. IB programs aim to provide an education that enables students to make sense of complexities of the world around them, as well as equipping them with skills and depositions needed for taking responsible actions for the future. They provide an education that crosses disciplinary, cultural, national, and geographical boundaries, and that champions critical engagement and stimulating ideas and meaningful relationships. Little bit about history of IB. The first IB program, the diploma program, was established in 1968. It sought to provide a challenging yet balanced education that will facilitate geographical mobility by providing an internationally recognized university entrance qualification. But that would also serve the deeper purpose of promoting intercultural understanding and respect. With the introduction of middle years program in 1994 and the primary years program in 1997, the IB identifies a continuum of international education for students aged from 3, that starts at the primary year program, to 19, which is diploma year program or career related program. The introduction of career related program, or we call it CP, it started in 2012, enriched with continuum by providing a choice of international education pathways for 16 to 19 years of 19 years old students. So these 4 IB programs can be implemented independently or in combination. They are all underpinned by shared values and share emphasis on developing students who are lifelong learners and who are able to not only make sense of, but to make positive impact on our complex and interconnected world. These aspirations are summed up in IB's ambitious mission and vision. These programs encourage students across the world to become active, compassionate, and lifelong learners. That is also the mission and vision of IB, to develop internationally minded students or international citizens having a lifelong learner as a skill, who understand that who understand other people's with their differences can also be right. Within a written preliminary for educators, this is what IB is. So to do all these things, IB focuses on certain elements, or we call it as a central elements of IB, which are obviously, as we have seen in the introduction, it's international mindedness, IB learner profiles, a broad, balanced, conceptual, and connected curriculum, and approach to learning, that is ATL, or we can call it skills, ATL skills. So for this presentation, we will only focus on middle years program, and this is what we call it as middle years program circle. IB also have circles and program framework for PYP, MYP, and DP. So looking at MYP, MYP curriculum circle is a learner-centric approach towards education. If you see in the circle, at the center there is learner, and that's why we call it as a learner-centric education approach. IB promotes the development of IB learner profiles in students using 3 core elements through teaching and learning in the subject areas. Learner profiles are basically qualities that IB learners or students should demonstrate, practice, and enhance. 3 core elements, as seen in the image, are service action, community project, and personal project, which are mandatory for basically all students to complete at various stages in MYP. And if, as you see, the outmost circle embodies the IB mission and vision statement, developing international mindedness. There is a freedom for schools to develop a curriculum based on these framework. So schools provide students opportunity to select subjects, whichever subjects they want to do. In arts, maybe they can, choose between music, art, and drama, or maybe visual arts, or design, technology. So there are many options given to students. Moving on, I'm talking about skills and skill development, and I'm talking about ATLs. So these are 5 IB recognized skills, or ATLs. That's what we work on. And what are the skills? ATLs are deliberate strategies, skills, or attitude that permeate the IB teaching and learning environment. ATL supports the IB belief that students' education is largely influenced not only what is learned, but how learning occurs. So the process of learning has given equal importance, and not just what happens in the classroom or what just happened at the time of learning, but the process of learning is equally important. Teaching students how to learn has always been a part of IB approach, and now the IB is providing more explicit support for teaching these skills and aligning the skills throughout the programs, if you see, from primary, middle years, and DP level. Focusing on ATL will improve the quality of teaching and learning across the program, and it will also result in more engaged teaching and learning. The IB approaches to learning are unarguably the most critical to procure, not just with regards to unit that we make for teaching, additionally for learning and encouraging that happens inside the classroom and life outside the classroom. So these skills that we develop, or we try to make in class, it's not just a classroom practice. We also see that how the skills can be developed in and out of the school. um, the five classification, as we see in the image, the five classifications and their separate sub abilities incorporate what is required for students in the 21st century in this powerful and quick advancing world. We need individuals who are learned as well as have a basic masterminds towards problem solving. So what are these five skills? We'll see these five skills more in detail, but just to look at them, first is thinking skills. Thinking skills can be mapping the creative thought process of students to generate new ideas and questions. So it's just developing your thinking, and we'll see in the next slide how thinking skill is divided into multiple parts. Second is social skills. Social skills are mostly working collaboratively in teams and assigning roles and responsibilities and exchanging thoughts. Communication skills. Communication skills are both listening and talking actively, and sharing points and ideas. Self-management skills. Self-management skills basically teaches to develop independent attitude and enhance knowledge and understanding. Research skills involves investigation and critical analysis into evaluating information. So that's what the skills are. As we are talking about this IB recognized skills, there will be a question about what happens to subject then. As I'm teaching drama, what happens to drama? And that's what my next is, subject specific skills. So subject specific skills are the skills which are needed to develop understanding and develop ability to learn the subject and practice the subject. So apart from ATLs, we also have subject specific skills to focus in everyday class and the units that we plan. Subject specific skills are skills developed to excel in the subject. So subject knowledge or subject specific terminology, that becomes a subject specific skills. For example, in drama, if we say voice is a skill that students should learn and excel to develop acting or performance skills maybe. So that's a specific subject specific skill. But to develop that skill, we also look at other skills that with voice, how we are developing, holistically developing students' ability to learn. So during curriculum planning, it is important to map the development of the subject specific skills, that how subject specific skills are also developed over time. So later in the essay, we will also see that how subject specific skills are connected very much with the ATLs, that IB recognized skills. Starting with from here, we'll look at all five skills, and I have given you example that how the skills exactly work with the example from the classroom. First, I'll tell you what the skill is, what comes under this skill, and then we'll try to look at the example. So starting with thinking skills. Thinking skills are metacognitive skills. Thinking skills are divided further into three sections, as you see here: critical thinking skills, creative thinking skills, and transfer skills. Critical thinking skills are cluster is where students analyze and evaluate ideas and issues. For this, students need to identify the problem through their observations. They will need to do further analysis and to formulate arguments. Further, they will go ahead and they will have to work on forming reasonable conclusions and generalizations. Students also work on developing factual, conceptual, and debatable questions by considering obviously multiple perspectives throughout their thinking process. While forming a solution to problems, students identify the obstacles and challenges. Secondly, creative thinking skills are generating novel ideas. The way name goes, creatively thinking and generating new novel ideas and constructing new perspectives. Students generate novel solutions to real problems. They can design new models, machines, technologies to form novel ideas. Students make guesses such as, we have what if question in the drama class, and develop testable hypotheses. Developing multiple opposing and contradictory arguments are also part of creative process. Lastly, transfer skills are basically skills which are utilizing to develop skills and knowledge in different contexts. So learning one skill and applying to a different context is what transfer skill is, transferring your skill to different contexts. It is also applying the skills that you have learned to new situation. Transfer skills are also making connection between multiple subjects. So looking at this example, I have given you example of theater of the operas, that if you are teaching theater of the operas in the class, how this skills, thinking skills will be connected to theater of the operas. So I have given you a task. Usually, I share tasks with students that they have to come up with a piece of newspaper theater. But to come to that work, to develop that work, students have to use the skills knowingly, unknowingly. While teaching, we are developing these skills. But looking at the MYP curriculum, looking at IB and need of this generation, we need to explicitly teach the skills and explicitly tell them at what time what skill they are using. So in the process of creating a newspaper theater, students are obviously practicing, observing outside world and finding out the real life problems and real life solutions to it. They are interpreting data, they are evaluating evidences. And if you look at the transfer skills, knowledge and skills developed through newspaper theater is also applicable to other subjects like for INS or literature and language and literature, where students have to use these skills again. So all these skills that we are developing apart from subject specific skills can be transferred to new learning. Second is social skills. So under social skills, the main focus is on developing collaboration skills. Collaboration skills include practicing empathy, delegating and sharing responsibility, and helping others to succeed. While working collaboratively, students learn to take responsibility for their actions and manage and resolve conflict. Also, collaboration skills include making fair and equitable decisions by building consensus. Collaboration also develops leadership skills. Receiving and giving feedback also comes under collaboration. So that's what social skill is. And for social skill, I have given you an example of collaboratively creating original theater. Now, this is also everyday practice of drama classes or drama workshop, where students collaboratively come up with improvisations, come up with the new play or the original theater. But are we focusing on the skills associated with that, the life skills that we are developing with that? And IB gives us opportunity to explicitly talk about these skills, explicitly teach these skills at the same time you're practicing drama or teaching drama in the class. Next is communication skills. Communication skills have two major factors to consider. The first one is to exchange thoughts and information through effective interaction. And second is reading, writing, and using language to gather information. Developing communication skills means developing speaking and writing techniques for different purposes and different audiences. It's important to understand the perspective of the skill. It's not just talking, it's just not writing, but understanding in front of which audience or what type of audience you are presenting your work and your ideas, and you have to develop your language for that. It can also include non-verbal communication and giving and receiving feedback from peers and teachers. Developing media skills also come under communication skills. Obviously, media is a big thing for this generation. Facebook, Instagram, everything is there, and communication skill is required for that. So apart from reading variety of sources, reading critically, taking effective notes, structuring and depicting information logically, and academic writing will also come under communication skills. So if you look at the example I have shared example of radio drama. We do this unit, almost all the units we do in the school where I'm teaching right now. Radio drama is grade 6 unit where students develop radio drama based on the story or myth that their group will select, and from there they will develop a story, a script which they will present in front of primary students. So here we are focusing on communication skills, that how students are using language to develop a script, and then how they are using language and adapting that language for a specific audience. And focus communication skills for this class or developing this radio drama will be reading critically for comprehension, obviously, because they have to write script based on books, using different speaking techniques for specific audience. They will already know that they will be presenting for primary students, so their language, their writing language, their speaking language has to be at that level. So they are already thinking in that direction. Moving forward,
We're just having a technical difficulty. Saket will be back very soon.
I think I got disconnected, so I'll start with from where I stopped. All right, so self-management skills are basically setting long and short-term goals, getting goals that are challenging and realistic, plan strategies and take actions to achieve goals, organizing information, and select and use technology effectively and productively. Effective skills include managing, state of mind, perseverance, and emotional management, and also self motivation. So I have given you examples of physical theater performance, and so for self-management skill, I have given you example of physical theater, where students have to plan, individually for long and short term, and they have to manage their time, because they have to individually develop the plan for a routine. At the same time, they have to develop a plan for their physical theater performance. So we are talking about physical theater, which is a specific drama specific skill, or developing a drama specific skill needed for performance. But at the same time, I can focus on self management skills, and I can explicitly tell them that how the skills are important and helpful for them. Uh, Last is research skills. Research skills are further divided into two groups, as you can see: information literacy and media literacy. Information literacy skills are finding, creating, and judging information. This includes collecting, verifying, and recording data, making connection between various sources, and presenting information in various formats, and processing data and generating results. So evaluation of data collected should be considered as an important factor. Creating referencing systems, citations, and using footnotes, endnotes, bibliography, all are part of research skills. It also says it also have organizing, analyzing, evaluating, synthesizing the information that you have got, and ethically use information from variety of sources and media. Communication of information and ideas by effectively using media will be under this section. So students usually do a lot of research in all subjects, and it is subject teachers' responsibility to develop the specific skill. Um, in research skill, I have given you example. If students are developing traditional theater performance, or doing exploration of traditional theater performance, they have to do a lot of research for that. And for that, students have to understand that how research skills are important for them, and how is going to benefit them for uh, long term. So I have given you example of exploratory theater performance, I am having a little issue with the technology, but that's what we are facing from long time, learning and teaching from home, and everyone is doing work from home. And obviously, we are facing a lot of issues with technology. Zoom is just kicking me out of this meeting again and again. But I'm not going to leave this meeting. I'm here, and I'm going to finish my talk. Uh, all right. So as we are seeing, all these skills are there, and we are talking about the communication and self management skills, which are IB specific skills. And as I told you, what happened to then subject specific skills, and there is always overlap between this subject specific skills that you need for a specific subject with the ATLs or with the skills that IB has recognized. So I've just given share an example here. Example is voice, as I stated before. If we are developing voice as a subject specific skill for student, at the same time we are focusing on communication. We are teaching them how to communicate. We are also teaching them how to communicate for different audiences, how to communicate in different situations. So that's transfer skills. And IB specifically suggests in MYP or throughout the IB program, we have to specifically or explicitly identify the skills and teach those skills to students to make them understand that is not just drama or any subject specific skill that is important, but this life skills or overall or holistic development of student is also important. Mapping skill development. This is just one example I have shared with you all. I have used this example while I was working in Tanzania. Uh, this is simple example that how we map development of skills. During this time, I was doing a set designing and modeling class with students. So if you see at the center, it is written model making, and the rays are coming out of it. Here I use self-assessment as a tool where students have to self-assess themselves and tell me in every class what work they have done. So this chart is actually mapping their self-management skills. So if they reach at the end of the ray, that's when they have completed the work. So every time they will come to class, they will plan what they're going to do next. They will work in the class. At the end of the class, they will tell me what work they have done, which short-term goal they have achieved, and how they are setting a long-term goal. So in a way, I'm doing a model making activity with them. I'm doing a set designing activity with them, but I'm also focusing on how their self-management skills are developed, how they are planning their time, how they are utilizing their time, how they're setting short and long-term goals. Finally, the conclusions. Skill development is at the core of IB-MYP framework. IBO's mission identifies the importance of skill development through teaching and learning, which will achieve the bigger aim of overlap of developing future generations and lifelong learners. Skill development should not be considered as an added curriculum, but it should be an integral and implicit plan that goes hand in hand with subject specific teaching and learning. A well informed skill development plan should be at the heart of student centric education framework. And that's what I meant by skill development. It's not necessarily have to have separate classes for skill development, but when we are planning everyday classes, in those classes also we can implicitly plan this skill development and explicitly tell students that how we are developing their skills. And finally, thank you very much, with a lot of interruptions because of Zoom and internet issues, but we have completed the presentation. Thank you very much for being with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saket. And I am sure that IB's motto, creating a better world through education, will become easy with the help of applied theatre. Thank you, Saket, for your valuable time and presentation. I also thank you all who join us on FB, Insta, and YouTube. We have taken a short break and will be back at 5 p.m. with speaker Dr. Selina Busby from London. She presents her research on finding utopia in Barali, Koliwada, and exploration of applied theatre in an Indian village. Stay with us. Thank you.